Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm back. We're back. Brent's back. Josh is back. Hi.
Actually, my front.
I'm in my robe today. This is Andy After Hours. I'm in my slippers. I'm in my robe. I have a mini diet or a mini Coke Zero. I'm ready to.
That's some shameless advertising that we're not getting
I
paid
wish I
for.
could get them to plug us, guys. I'm ready to discuss the big life again. I'm living it.
Wow, you're Hugh Hefner after he lost the Playboy Mansion.
Well, I'm just happy you got a shirt on underneath it.
Say hello, Josh.
I'm Buck Melanoma.
Brent, how's it going, buddy?
What the fuck do you want?
I seem like I haven't talked to you guys in like hours.
Yeah. You know, we're coming off another podcast. We're doing a marathon tonight, so we're really juiced to give you a good one here.
Yeah, we're here to rock and roll. We do it because we love it, not because we like each other. We just like sitting in basements and
I like you guys
talking into a little light in the front of my monitor here.
So, yeah, if we're lucky, Josh will tell more wee stories and.
Well,
wow.
I have concluded there's two camps in the Night Ranger camp. There are the majority of us sane people, right, who are in the Can't Find Me a Thrill camp.
Oh
yeah.
And then there's the small, little camp.
The color of
my
smile.
smile.
Hold on, Josh. You're getting ahead of me. So, Josh, any thoughts on the previous episode?
Yeah, I was right on it, and on the previous episode, obviously, I have to come at a different angle than you two because you guys really enjoy the album. Not that I don't. It's just
right.
To make it interesting. I gotta focus on. All right, here's kind of what I don't like about it, but I know tonight, prototypical Night Ranger song. I mean, it almost is like when you close your eyes. It's when you think of Night Ranger, what sound do you think? But it was a good discussion, and I think it's one of those albums where either it is your favorite from the classic era, or it's at the bottom. There's not much.
Yeah, I'll say I was excited, I guess, to see the page. The friends on the Facebook page really start to talk about this, and it does seem like there is some division. People really, like I said, either really like this album, or they're like, take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to, I forget whose thread I commented on, but I tried to be, as I like to say, intellectually honest. As a fan who does love this album, my comment was that I think this album, and I think, Josh, you touched on it in the previous episode, it was just a victim of the time. They got caught up in a sound and trying to do something that, if you could get Jack and them to be honest, it isn't their sound, it isn't truly them. It doesn't mean it's a bad album. I really like the album. And Brent, I'm not trying to take your time. I just wanted to say,
you're not taking any time. Just go.
Just being honest. Rain Comes Crashing Down is a song that I will always love by Night Ranger, and I wish they would play it live. I'm in the Color of Your Smile camp. I love that song. I don't love it better than certain songs. I just really enjoy that song, and Big Life I think is a great song. But if I never hear Secret of My Success again, I'm way okay with that. I now give my time to the man from Cincinnati.
Don't get me off track again. When I went into the Joel Hoekstra story last week about going to Indianapolis, or not Indianapolis, which town, Andy?
Batesville, I believe.
Batesville, Indiana, and it was their bicentennial. Now Josh laughs about that word. They got me off track. What I was going to say was that was the first show we got to hear Secret of My Success when they brought it back. That was my point. I got off track, went to something else, and you guys were just laughing, so I just let it go. But so I'm not losing my freaking head, people. That's what I was going to say. And I'm getting butchered on YouTube by Alpha somebody about, talking about OMD. Well, that was a number 4 hit. Well, it might have been a number 4 hit. It just wasn't a big hit. They never played it on Cincinnati radio, on Top 40 radio. The same goes with Katrina and the Waves. You might hear that once every 3 days on our Top 40 station. It was all It was all part of me. Q102 was the station.
Yeah.
Duran Duran, Thompson Twins,
And you're
Howard
referring-
Jones.
You're referring back to the time the song was released.
Yeah.
What,
So when I said it's
87-ish?
bigger now, it's big. It's got a bigger presence. They have a bigger presence now than they did. They, like I said, in different parts of the country, things were played more. So therefore, my timeline on that is not the same as what Billboard is reflecting. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
But I loved Big Life. In fact, and I even posted, this is my favorite artwork I have done to date. I love the little hairs I put on top of Andy's head to give it some character, so it wouldn't just look like I do right now. And I got rid of Josh's Pap stuff and put a little Night Ranger cap on him, and then I got my Ranger shirt on, and we got the little Man in Motion behind me on my shoulder. Artwork's almost as good as the album is.
That photo is of me in a tavern in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, if
Yeah.
we can tell tales, that picture of me, I was standing in front of Eric Carr's Porsche at Kiss Mini Golf in Las Vegas.
And I was at Legoland in the Chicago area, standing next to an Indiana Jones Lego figure. And when I saw the light, the way it was coming through the door, it looked like like when I positioned, I'm like, oh my God, that's a perfect picture to put next to that little house. So it just things lined up, and since Josh doesn't have many pictures of him, that's
a good picture.
That's
why
smiles. I was going to put the
he's got his aviators on there. Ghost Rider.
I was going to put what'd you call the Halliburton cases. I was gonna get pictures of those, but I couldn't. They couldn't hide you with your half body the way a road case could.
It looks good. It looks good.
But yeah, Big Life. It's a freaking awesome record.
Yeah, I was
And
actually just listening to it today. Believe it or not, I was just had it on shuffle. I was doing some work around the old stately Parker Manor here in Nashville, and I was like, I'm going to listen to Big Life.
And it's funny because I learned something in that episode I didn't know before from Josh. Was when he said that "Secret of My Success" was coming in at the end of the album. Well, Andy and I always thought it was because that sound was because of David Foster. David Foster had that sound was already there. So.
Yeah.
well,
I learned something.
one thing we need to correct is, I think I called him Keith Olsen. It's or Elson. It's Kevin Elson, and we are doing a series of interviews for some upcoming podcasts that deal with Keith Olsen. So Keith Olsen, Kevin Elson is just the names got mixed up. I'm just going through some of the comments on here, seeing if there's any.
Yeah, I was taking heat. But for the record, I love Can't Find Me a Thrill. But when Josh starts putting shit in my face, I'm just going to come back at him right off the bat. So don't take it personal. Can't Find Me a Thrill.
Yeah.
I ain't going to let Josh beat me up. Josh, look at me.
What? What?
Up your butt with the coconut.
Oh.
And then Andy told me to eat a bag of, big old bag of them. I was like, and I didn't realize that. See, I'll go back and watch parts of these episodes to see. I try to make myself better because I notice I do this shit a lot, and or I'll scratch my chin or whatever, and I'm trying not to do that. So I'll go back and watch the thing. When I heard Andy told me to eat a bag of, I was in tears again because I'd forgotten about it. I'd already lived that moment in my life and it moved on.
I felt real defensive, like I need to defend Clive Barker's honor.
But no, going back and just watching us sometimes it's pretty damn funny.
It gets a little silly at the end.
I love it. So
yeah, so
hey, I'm a fan.
And this episode definitely has a high risk of us doing dipshit back crazy things.
Yeah, we've been talking for a while.
We had a previous interview, which you guys will all get to find out about.
Yeah.
Can I give him a hint? Can I give him one hint?
No, because your hints will suck.
No, it's a hint. It's a big good hint. It's a drummer.
It's me.
I'm a drummer too. So
Josh actually interviews me in depth about my long career of drumming in mediocre bands in Cincinnati.
Josh, there is a person on the page that I had won a logo, and their name was similar. And the cat's out of the bag with this certain person because I told him, I said, hey, I wanted to thank you for winning a logo because the person's name I just did.
Now people are gonna start researching this.
I don't think they will. Should I shut up?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
All right. So, anyway.
Okay, he's gonna cut that out. So
Big Life episode was fun.
Hey, you know, I think what's going to happen is Brent's going to find out there was a meeting, and it was just between me and you.
Oh.
And he's going to be like, what's going on? And next thing you know, we're recording Man in Motion. Me and Andy.
I can't do it. Bro, you're crazy.
yeah, I'll take the fucking name with me.
That's what
I can't wait for the Man in Motion episode. I can't wait for all of them. They're
me
fun.
neither.
yours will be Fans in Motion featuring Brent.
I'm calling up the Kiss and Tail podcast.
Or what is that?
Solo.
It'll be Brent Walters Fans in Motion.
Yeah, like Bobby Blotzer.
Hey, I just got booked for Kiss and Tail again. So
The Bobby Blotzer's Fans in Motion.
ooh, that's a good drummer.
So, anything else on the episode you guys want to get out there, get off your chest?
No, it's we got Man in Motion coming up, and yeah, if you are new to the podcast, subscribe and do all that malarkey that everybody tells you to do. Make comments and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna throw it over to Brent Walter on the lead vocals.
Well, there's no Night Ranger news. There's no Night Ranger news. Sorry. But anyway, no Night Ranger news.
I like your graphic.
Yeah, well, it doesn't show up because of the third window thing. They all see right to here, I think. Anyway,
turn your
it won't. It doesn't matter. It's stationary. The picture doesn't move.
Oh, I gotcha.
So, we're gonna pull up the first name.
So I guess we're going to member engagement.
We're going to member engagement. Who do we got here, Andy? Who's behind me?
Bow your head down.
Oh,
Brent
damn it.
Walter.
There it is.
Denise Martin.
Denise Martin, welcome to the page. She's new to the page. She just joined. I can't help these graphics. Ooh, now I'm going to be like doing the safety dance with men without hats. Anyway, she's new to the page.
Welcome, Denise.
That's a really good picture.
Hope you're watching this. Those are some great pictures. I think I commented on those pictures.
Yeah, so wanted to give her a shout out. I thought that was kind of cool. Then we have
Marty Papworth.
Marty Papworth had this bitchin' asshole picture of him in his Seven Wishes shirt.
Yeah.
Now, is that Seven Wishes or is that Midnight Madness?
It's that's Seven Wishes.
Well, yes. What tour shirt am I wearing now?
It's Seven Wishes. Midnight Madness, we had burgundy sleeves and we just had a logo. Like I just made the.
But that's a band photo, correct?
Yeah.
Across the front.
Seven Wishes, and on the back,
right.
it's got the.
There's the lamp, right?
I don't remember seeing it, so I'm kind of looking at the screen behind you.
I got mine at the Ohio State Fair. You didn't get one?
I got the sleeveless with the logo on the front and the girl on the back. So I didn't get, I guess, that one.
Gotcha. And I thought I had one more. Oh yeah, this one's classic. I can't move my head because
Sean McSparron.
I had to look at this picture because I didn't know who he was with. I thought it was a kid at first, and then I got to look at my holy shit, that's Jack Blades.
Hey, real quick, I don't know if you're back to, if you guys can see it.
There's the shirt.
They've
actually got here. Can you put there you go.
All right. Well, I guess what throws me off is Jack and Brad look like Midnight Madness almost, but then you see the other guys and it's like Seven Wishes for sure.
Especially Kelly. And
well, Kelly and Fitz, those two wore those outfits almost every show.
All right, Brent, back to Sean McSparron.
Anyway, we got Sean's picture with Jack, and I think it threw a lot of people for a loop when they first saw it. And it's classic because Jack does like, okay, just Stay still and the big guy won't hurt me.
Yeah, that's what it kind of looks like.
That was fantastic. I thought it was funny. So, again, you guys make this page what it is. We love you for it. I can't thank you enough. Gives me something to look forward to every day when I turn on Facebook and have to get through half of the people's politics I agree with and half the people's politics I don't agree with, because I don't want to see all that crap. I just want to see cool stuff.
Yep.
And this is about the coolest thing I get to see on Facebook every day.
Absolutely.
So, besides when Andy posts pictures of me from his memories, that's pretty damn funny. Ain't too often though.
You have all my memories, man.
Yeah, I do have all your memories, but Facebook, reminds you. Like we had one the other day, which Butch Walker popped up, and you wrote synthesizers, and he's snapping his fingers. Butch Walker synthesizers. People look it up.
Well, of course, today as we record this is 9/11, so our Facebook feed was, everybody's, I'm sure, was filled with 9/11 posts. So,
but when we were supposed to record this, it was Carrie Kelly's birthday.
Hey,
Carrie Kelly.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, hey.
And officially today's birthday is Tommy Shaw.
Yeah.
So none of these people's fault they were born on this day. We can't help it.
Is there any anything from the page, Josh? Any fans emotion stuff you want to discuss? Membership numbers, where we at? Viewership, are we up?
1,200 views. I mean, the Joel Hoekstra episodes obviously did well because of his, his appeal with other fan bases. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. We lost.
Yeah, I'm back. That's all right.
Yeah, stop fucking with shit.
Just trying to turn off Carrie. There we go.
So
I did it again.
Wow.
You ready? You ready to record Man Emotion?
Oh my god.
So anyway,
you guys got to understand the way I'm doing this. I'm sitting at this thing and I'm reaching at the mouse. Okay,
the way
I'm
you're
done.
doing it is incorrect.
I'm done clicking. Yes, you're correct. You are correct. I am the first one to admit when I'm wrong.
The way you're doing this is incorrect, and Color Your Smile sucks.
Yeah,
the page is doing well. I like Brent. I enjoy getting up in the mornings. I'm up very early. I have a little puppy dog that gets me up earlier than I plan to, and we get out for a walk. And I'm usually scrolling Facebook, and the first thing I look for is the pictures and the stories and people posting the videos of songs that they find on YouTube. And I, again, like everybody, I think we're tired of a lot of what's people's social media posts, and I just want to smile. I just want to have a good time and watch videos, man. That's all I want to do.
Am I off or on? I'm on
now.
Like, okay, my camera was not on. You weren't going to say anything, Josh, were you?
I don't know what the hell you're doing, man. I just let you go. You show up. You show up if you're not there. No. You're like Brian Jones towards the end of his Stones career.
Hey, my hands are right here. Not touch nothing.
Stay away from swimming pools.
It's kind of like, hey, at least I made the first episode that we recorded with whatever. But Andy's internet up on.
Hey, Andrew, what's the next topic here we're going to?
Is there any new stuff? Anybody got anything new they want to show off, discuss?
Well, what you got there?
I don't have anything myself.
I got a couple things.
I'm wearing my robe, and that's not even new. It's old.
During this obviously slow period for these musicians, if you can get on their site, buy stuff, whatever you can do to support them is, obviously going to go a long way. So I went to Joel's website, and he's actually, the CDs are like $10. I did not have the first acoustic, or I don't think this is acoustic, but the first solo album of his. So I got that, and I ordered just something I didn't have, just an autograph.
That's cool.
Autograph
nice.
photos. So go to just his shop, just Google it or whatever. And I went to the Night Ranger store and just looked. It's still the same stuff.
Yeah.
I did discover I need a bottle opener when I travel, so I may order that Night Ranger bottle opener. But that's what I got. So go to I think the Joel Hoekstra 13 albums on there for like $9.99. So
Does he sell the CDs autographed too for a little bit more? Or
I don't think so. The CD I didn't get. It's not autographed. It was sealed.
I just can't remember.
I
was on there.
I think the 8x10s are like on sale for like $7.99 or something like that. So you got Joel, or go to Night Ranger's website. They got pretty good selection of stuff. It's just we've mostly bought it all.
Yeah, and I don't know. Real quick, I don't know how many people actually sit and listen to Eric's jams. I get a kick out of Eric's jams, so it's not that they're kind of new because he posts new ones all the time. And I don't know. I'm sure what other members of the band have their own style. I think Kerry Kelly, he's got stuff. Support these guys while you can.
Kerry's got Aces and Ales. I went to order something, a shirt, and they weren't in stock. Like it let me order it, but then I got the email saying they were out of stock. But Aces and Ales, which is Kerry Kelly's.
Well, and you can go to he's got a website, and he sells guitar picks and stuff. Night Ranger, you can see it. So I mean, again, everybody support what you can. I mean, it's tough on these guys too. I mean, I know we're all struggling a little bit financially too, but you can get a set of picks from Kerry for $5. It's kind of cool.
Well, what people are supporting is that show up in north of Indiana. It's actually was listed as sold out already.
Yeah, well, how you say that, Josh?
Shipshewana? Yeah,
sounds good to me.
Bless you.
It's a big, like I said, it's out in the middle of nowhere, and I mean out in the middle of nowhere. And Amish country, everything closes down at 5. It's not a huge venue to begin with, but when you cut 50% capacity, it's going to basically be a sellout. So it'll be interesting to see if it goes through. And
that's good news so far, though.
Brent, you got anything new that you've purchased? You want to mention what you're working on?
Everybody saw this week. I've been trying to work with merchandisers to get stuff done. If you notice, if the shirt was black, the logo had a big white rectangle on there. I know what I'm doing. It's just not. Certain sites will take it, and certain sites you could touch the logo. You could touch the red and make it any color you want, and make the logo anything you want. That's ultimately what I want. I'm not finding what I want. But the one site I was on, what was a Redbubble I did the other day, Andy?
Yeah.
They had a lot of stuff that females would love, the pants and I got a lot of good comments on that stuff. I just don't know where we're going to go with it.
It's cool, though, because I want to order some stuff, and I think it would be super freaking cool to be at a Night Ranger concert and turn around and see somebody wearing a Fans in Motion shirt just for the hell of it.
What was really cool was what you guys didn't see there.
Eric will have one, I'm sure.
What you didn't see was the bedding that popped up, the shower curtain, the toilet paper rug, or not toilet paper, the toilet rug. There was binders. I mean, it was all this stuff. I'm like,
instead of Spaceballs, the toilet paper, it's Fans in Motion, the toilet paper.
You can wipe your ass with us now. Awesome.
Yeah. Luckily, we start doing that. We will we'll have a interview lined up with Night Ranger's attorney.
It doesn't say Night Ranger.
It's still
they can't do anything about that.
You can't take the Chevy logo and put Walter in the Chevy logo.
If it's totally changed, you can, and it's totally changed. My fonts aren't.
You know what? We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll definitely find out. Josh, I probably won't be available for that interview. Whenever it is, I won't be available. I might be on vacation that day.
Josh designed it all. I just claim I do, so that way he doesn't get all the emails saying, "Can you make my name into a logo too?"
So, all right, moving on from new stuff. Is there anybody got any music suggestions? Anything they're hot listening to right now? Brent,
I'm still listening to Diamond Rex, Psych Ward.
Diamond Rex, there you go. Get him out there.
Love that album.
I have stuff, but I don't have it near me. Oh, here we go. How about this?
I was listening a lot to just recently.
It's a downhill.
It's nothing new. It's been out for a while, but it's a local Cincinnati band, Brent, that I'm sure you've seen me post about him, called Nicholas and the Pessimistics.
Yeah, it's a great name.
He's actually a solo artist now, Nicholas Clay, but it's singer-songwriter stuff, and I
really thought you were going to say Vestrings Hayes. Thanks a lot. I'd have wore the shirt tonight.
I'll show you real quick. I got this just to promote this guy because he's super talented. Josh, you appreciate this because it's actual vinyl.
Here's catered to you.
It's
a 10-inch?
No, so this company leased Vol.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. To support local musicians, you could pay. It's like $25, and they do a song that you pick by them, and they personalize it. Like there's a message to me before the song starts, and then the guy records an acoustic version of the song. Nicholas Clay, this song's called The Lonesome Man. If you like singer-songwriter type stuff, this guy's fantastic. Josh, you might really like him because he leans somewhat towards country. And I know that's
up again. That is really clear vinyl.
Isn't that awesome looking?
Yeah, that is really great. Don't touch the vinyl with your fingerprints there.
I got 2 of these because I really love this guy's music. And again, Nicholas Clay. The band at the time was Nicholas and the Pessimistics. Cincinnati guy, lives right there in town, man. That's my promotion for him.
Trust me, it's better than what's that? Walk the Moon. Shut up and dance. That's who that they're from here.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, so that's. I mean, it's not new. The album's actually been out for years, but I just got that recently, and it was fantastic. So, Josh,
the only thing I got handy next to me is some Wayne Cochran going back to Miami, the Soul Size, 1965 to 1970. If you guys like James Brown, anything like that, that's what you want to get. Look him up, YouTube.
Oh, I've seen that dude. Wait, he's got big hairdo, doesn't he?
Yep. White hair. Just.
Did you post something about him? I saw somebody on my Facebook feed did.
I probably did a few weeks ago. Yeah, I get in little kicks, and it's just been a Wayne Cochran.
Well, again, we're here because of Night Ranger, but we all like other things, and I think it's every now and then. I think put somebody out there, something different, and when there's nothing new coming out right now by Night Ranger or Joe or anybody else that we can talk about, let's promote what we can. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll help somewhere down the road.
Well, and here's before we get into the Night Ranger questions and everything, as a topic I wanted to bring up. We mentioned it last week at Frankie Vinale of Quiet Riot had passed away, and within this week they announced tour dates to where they're going to continue touring.
Yeah.
Basically without any original members. And there's a lot of people who are against it and some that are for it. And we're getting to that point where these discussions are going to happen a lot more with bands. What's your thoughts on Quiet Riot doing that?
I'll go first. I'm not a fan of it, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to downgrade what these guys are trying to do. They're trying to make a living, and I applaud them for trying to make a living. And I know there's people that can get this argument can go into, well, you like Kiss with only 2 original members. Yeah, there's a difference. I mean, when there's no original members, it's just not for me. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It is not for me. It's hard for me to go see Foreigner. Those guys a super talented band, but that is just not Foreigner. And I'm not knocking people who go to see the Foreigner show. I've done it. I've seen it. They sound great, but it's not Foreigner. So, my opinion, I'm not a fan of it. But I know these guys got to work and they're trying to do something. But it's just, to me, it's almost like beating a dead horse. Just let it go.
If the band would have been a band that somewhat overturned original members as they went on, like, let's just take the Kiss anecdote. Let's say that Gene would have left Kiss in 1983 and Paul was the only one doing it, and they replaced Gene and they had hit singles with another guy singing the Gene part. Okay, and then Paul quit. And, where that truck just kept rolling, you might forget. You know what I'm saying? But that hasn't happened yet with anybody.
It's just I feel with no original members. I mean, even when you get down to like one original member, it gets suspect. I mean, I went and saw a version of Little River Band, up in Pickerington, I think it was, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was there, and it was the second bass player was the only original member of the band, and he wasn't original. I mean, he was the second guy to play bass in Little River Band, and then he was touring under Little River Band. He had a great band, but it's like,
and they sang, "Look around you. Do you see any originals?"
Yeah. So we're the new originals.
Well,
then they became the Tensmen.
I think,
Josh, your thoughts?
I think we're past the age of it mattering who is in the band. These guys are all in their mid to late 60s, 70s. It's no longer, I think, it's not 1987. Who's in the band? I want to learn everything about everybody and who replaced who.
Yeah.
At this point, most 80s rock fans are in their late 40s to mid to late 50s. The people in these bands are about 10 years older, 67 to early 70s. Sammy Hagar, 72. Kelly Keagy's almost 70. Jack Blades is 67. So to me, it no longer matters who's in the band. Now, like you said with Foreigner, I get that, to where I don't like it if there are people that are alive who could be in the band performing, or are at least of age still to be doing it. It's different if, you're 78 years old. Obviously, that's a little bit different than being even 68. Quiet Riot, to me, I don't have an issue with it because it doesn't matter. There's no integrity when it comes to rock and roll at this point in careers.
Hey, and Skinner did it successfully for a long. I mean, they still had one original member.
Well, but all those guys finally died. But all those guys have died. Well, Gary Rosington's still in the band.
Yeah.
But
okay.
But all those guys have died, just like Quiet Riot. The reason why Kevin's not there and Frankie is because they've passed on. Now I know you could do Carlos and Rudy and stuff,
sure.
But the integrity thing is done. It's more about if I'm Frankie and I'm not going to be here, I'm going to pass away. There's something about a Saturday night after you're gone, knowing that maybe there's a club with 150 people and your music's still going. It's still alive. Or you can have integrity and it's a Saturday night out there and it's just forgotten. So to me, we're past that point of who's in the band. And if, let's say, and I think and there's a lot of variables. Let's say Kelly just decides he's 70 and in a couple years, hey, I don't want to do this. I've got, I've gotten, remarried and I want to do, I want to retire and relax. So they get a replacement for Kelly. We would go see him still. And let's say, Jack, a year later, hey, I'm 74 years old, guys. I got grandkids. I'm bowing out. And they get someone in there and, and it's just them now with someone else and Brad, I would still go see him.
I struggle with that. I mean, I'm not saying right or wrong. I struggle with, for me at least, and I know Brent could probably point out places where I've actually been wrong or I'm going to contradict myself, but to me with these bands, and it's not to discredit or discount anyone's contribution to the band. When you start losing the actual vocalists, I start to get a little leery. I'm not positive I want to be there. Listen, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but don't misunderstand.
If it was 1998 or even 2008, I get that. But these guys would be not singing because I'm 74 years old. All right? So that's and then even if Brad left, so now you don't have any original members, but you have, let's say they give it to Eric and Kerry Kelly to continue on. Obviously, it's not every.
This is another episode right here.
Not,
we could.
It's not It's not everybody's cup of tea, but people would still go. You could still have fun, and the music is kept alive, and that music could be kept alive even after original band members are gone. So
yeah, and here, you're not wrong. I mean, but like, we just recently had a guy who died from, was it the Four Tops or something like that?
Temptations.
I mean, there's nobody left original in that band. It's just a bunch of guys.
Otis Williams is still in the band.
No, that's not what I'm thinking of then. There must be somebody else. But my point is you can keep it alive, but it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what. So you want to talk? You want to talk Temptations, man? You listen to any of the probably 1964 to 68, and you put on a good set of headphones, and you hear this. That's me. I was a knuckle cracker. Okay, so I recorded with the Temptations back in 64 to 68, and okay, so you got.
I'm doing the backing dances.
People said that the Temptations couldn't last without David Ruffin. Guess what, motherfuckers? Dennis Edwards.
Yeah.
All right. Papa was a Rolling Stone. All right. They said
confusion.
Said it couldn't last without Eddie Kendricks. Guess what? It did. And who else am I missing here? Paul Williams. Hey, we can keep it going. I'm missing one other original member. Who am I missing?
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't.
He passed away in the 90s. But what I'm saying is, it's the
Temptations.
I saw the Temptations in 2010, and yes, there's only one original Temptation. But you know what? I saw the Temptations. To me, that was still cool, and there were 3,000 people there seeing the Temptations as well. So,
but I'm just saying, but it's, and we can get into a pissing contest about. But I mean, I can go see a cover band. Local cover band play Quiet Riot songs. I can't go deep on Quiet Riot's catalog. I want to hear 2 or 3 songs. They played those 2 songs.
Now, in fairness,
I got my fix.
In fairness for Quiet Riot, Chuck Wright, the bass player, did play on Mental Health, and even though Rudy Sarzo is pictured, so they do have.
He played on QR3, and no, not Q, and Condition Critical, not Condition Critical.
He's been there since the 80s.
Was it Condition Critical?
But,
when did Rudy leave?
Rudy left on...
QR3. QR3 is when Chuck Wright came back. Well, that was when The Wild and the Young came out.
So, anyways, we're going to start seeing stuff like this in the next 5 to 10 years. Like I said, these artists are not spring chicken. So... there's a lot of people on there. I want to go see Quiet Riot. And listen, if Night Ranger got to that point, and it's Eric Levy and Kerry Kelly and 3 other dudes, am I driving 6 hours to go see it? No, not like I would if Jack and Kelly and all of them are there. But I drive an hour, just to relive old times. And you know what? It's a weekend, and the music's still alive, and the name's still out there, and so be it. So, anyways.
What if? See, this is like I said, a whole episode on its own. Colin Blades comes in and replaces Jack.
Yeah, I mean,
just like they talk about Evan Stanley replacing Paul Stanley, and it's not them, but it might be the next best thing.
Correct, and I was going to bring that up, but that's to me it's like cheating a little bit on the topic. But yeah, you could bring in, Colin.
Leonard Skinner brought in family members,
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, I said there's no right or wrong. It's just for me, I'm okay with bands calling it a day. If they need to call it a day, then say let it go.
When Kiss hangs up and there's 4 unoriginal members, I still will go see a Kiss concert.
Yeah.
For what it is.
I will go see bands that I enjoy even if there's no original members. And that's a very limited. I'm not seeing Molly. I like Molly Hatchet. But I'm not going to go see Molly Hatchet because I'm not that big a fan, and they have they don't have any original members alive, let alone...
I'm not saying anything about Molly Hatchet in this episode, so I'm not going to piss off whoever I pissed off before.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I like Molly Hatchet. Just I'm not a big enough fan to do that.
Yeah.
And I get, well, if you're not a big enough fan to go see Night Ranger if there's no original members, but if you are, then
Well, if there were a Night Ranger cover band here like there is in Texas, I would go see them. Just like when Strutter, the Kiss tribute band, gosh, we were going to see them when Kiss wasn't wearing makeup, and it was really cool, at the time. Then they put the makeup back on, and I'm like, sorry, we already got the makeup back on.
That's right. I'll keep my integrity. You guys you got there and spend your money.
Yeah, wait. Wait, Josh and I are getting in these places for free because I came back to the podcast. He let me back in after you left.
Did.
Yeah.
You did.
Because we had to have at least 2 original members for people to watch.
All right. Well, since we've settled that debate and I'm right, let's move on to the topic of the day. This episode, Josh, is brought to you by the letters Fans in Motion Questions.
Yeah, it's actually a little buffer for us to get some work done with the upcoming episodes. But it's good because we got a lot of interaction. And we're going to start off with probably the most common question that's asked and kind of probably the most delicate question that's asked. Why are Jeff and Fitz no longer in the band? Or why did Fitz was not on Man in Motion? So we weren't there. We don't know. I can put pieces of stuff together. I've talked to the band members when I was younger. I straight up ask them, stuff I wouldn't do, now. But you're 17. You're like, So
yeah, you have no filter at that point.
So
you're just excited.
I tell you what, I remember the first time I met Kelly as 17, 18, and I asked Kelly because I was curious because remember back then there's no internet. There's nothing for you to go explore stuff. So
the magazines weren't asking the questions we wanted to know about either.
And by the time I got to that age, Night Ranger was not in magazines.
Yeah, they were gone.
Yeah.
So I asked Kelly. It was me and a friend I was with and some girl. So it was the 3 of us talking to Kelly. This is 1995, and I asked him how many copies did Man in Motion sell, and he looked at us and. I was just wondering, hey, is it 250,000, whatever. And because you got to remember when it came out, I was 11. So even then I didn't read the, Rock Mag. I had no idea how big of an album it was or wasn't. And he looked at us, he goes 3. And it was us 3, that were there. That's what the joke he was making. It was just us 3 that, so he was cool about it and everything. But, an example of dumb question I would ask. So with the question of why did Fitz leave the group in 1987, like most departures and everything, then you're going to have a politically correct answer, and then you're going to have the truth. It's always going to be musical differences or something. We really don't know. I did ask Fitz about it once. Fitz told me that the
original, the first time he left, right?
1988, probably early 88. Fitz told me that his wife was pregnant, and they were doing like a home birth, which is probably something you would probably hear more now than 33 years ago. Yeah. And I think again, this is 20-some years ago. I talked to him, so I'm not quoting. I'm general ideas. Maybe there were some complications, like maybe, I can't remember if he even went into it. I'm not even sure if that was it. Like, just maybe something wasn't as smooth I got, so he had to be home more. And so that was kind of why he decided basically to leave, because the band was wanting to tour and do stuff, and he was wanting to stay home with his family, which makes sense. I mean, Fitz had been playing live and doing that gig stuff at that time for almost 15 years. Yeah. That's like big time stuff. That's Montrose in 74 to Sammy Hagar to Gamma to Night Ranger. That doesn't count the 6 years that he's beating around the clubs in California, getting to where he was in Montrose. Now, there are interviews from, not very many, but there are interviews from the Man in Motion time period where Brad does mention Fitz wanting to stay home with family. But Night Ranger also, if you look at the advertisements for Man in Motion, guitars are back. That's what the ad says. Man in Motion, new album, guitars are back. So maybe off of the whole big life, big keyboard sound, they realize we got to go back to a harder sound, less keyboards, and we get, we go separate ways. Now, the argument against that is they use 6 different keyboard players on that album. So
and it's very keyboard heavy,
yeah,
in my opinion.
But Fitz does have a songwriting credit on there, so we don't know. But it's probably a combination of all of them. Fitz is maybe wanting to take time off. They're not wanting to. Personalities collide, and you go separate ways. I mean, honestly, not to have any member changes for 4 albums in a row, in the 80s, that's actually not too bad. So that's the Fitz story.
Nice.
The Jeff Watson one.
Well, the Jeff Watson, you got Jeff Watson, we'll talk about it more, but Jeff Watson was originally in the Night Ranger picture with Gary Moon. It was Jeff Watson, Kelly Kagi, and Brad Gillis.
Yeah, I remember you showing that. To us, anyway. It
was those 3 looking for a bass player to continue on Night Ranger in 90, 91, somewhere around there. I'll dig more deep into it. And
didn't you show us a picture of that?
No, there's a video out there.
Okay, that's what it was. You were talking about a video.
But it's when Night Rangers got back together with just Gary, Brad, and Kelly, and they invite Jeff up as a special guest.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm sorry.
But this is before Gary's in the band. It's those 3. And Gary gets in the picture, but before Gary really gets in the picture, Jeff is somewhere no longer in the picture. So something happened between Brad, Kelly, and Jeff. Again, you can speculate. We'll talk about it maybe a little bit more when we get into the Mojo era, because there is more info there. I'm just going to not jump too deep into it. So Jeff was in that. So Jeff was kind of booted, I guess you could say, in 1990. So now you go to Fitz, and the original. Well, you go to everybody getting back together in '96. Everybody's hunky dory, and then you get into the early 2000s, and you have Fitz's departure. There's not a lot there, and honestly, it's kind of weird. Back in 2003, you thought the internet knew everything, but you look back without social media, it's like there's still a lot of
holes,
a lot of gray area and everything. So,
I mean, the only thing I know about Fitz at that point, he was playing with Van Halen.
I can't guarantee you that.
I remember being at the concert and somebody saying, "Yeah, that's one of the road crew guys telling us, yeah, Fitz is playing keyboards now, and he's not doing it."
Well, that would be 2004 when they got back with Sammy. So that makes sense because, I mean, the most that I ever seen him, the last I seen him was 2003.
I thought he was doing it even before then.
Well, Van Halen, they weren't doing anything until 2004 with Sammy.
No, I'm talking about during
David
like the
you're talking about the 90s. Yes.
Yeah.
Fitz was never, but I'm saying Fitz was never asked back in the band at that point.
Oh, okay. I
apologize. So there was no, hey, we're getting together with Fitz and he's on the way out either. So that's why I didn't bring Fitz up in the 90s. I'm going back after the Reds won. After they've gotten back together, they've done Neverland and Seven, and it's that. Remember, I tell you, like I call it like the lost years because there's no studio albums. It's just you hear about them playing the Riverfront down in Cincinnati in 2000.
Oh yeah, Chili Fest.
And
I mean, it looks. I'm on the bottom right hand. I'm the only one putting my arms.
I mean, it's weird.
I got busted by Jack Blades at that show.
It's weird. It's like it's in daylight and there's no. It's like empty in the front. Like there were weird shows during that time period. And
Yeah, I mean, that show, there's probably, what, a couple hundred people maybe, Brent?
Well, the wall was filled.
There's boats behind them.
But like I said, I remember you look down in front of Fitz, and I'm down there, and it's me and Doug Davis are standing there, and I'm rocking my hands out, and I remember turning, looking, everybody's just, it's Bible day at that point, as the outfield said. Nobody was even reacting. I'm like, oh, and plus we were 20 feet away from the stage, so you want, Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. Cut me off.
Flashback.
But that's me.
So with Fitz, Fitz is back with the band, and about 2002, they start having Michael Lardy from Great White sub in for him. Michael Lardy is no longer in Great White.
Doesn't hide it.
That speaks well for our show.
Sorry.
So,
well, he was saying how if he yawns, the microphone hides it. I'm like, doesn't hide it. That's what I said. Michael Lardy.
So Michael Lardy is brought in just to fill in some shows because Fitz is actually going on tour with Bruce Springsteen. At this time, Bruce is, I don't know if he's actually in 2002 actually performing off stage. He may be teching. I don't know, but it's probably more of a steady gig than Night Ranger just on the weekends. Again, I'm speculating. But what is happening in 2002 is basically Fitz is saying, hey, I need to leave for 2 weeks. They bring in Michael Lardy. He does 6 shows and then kind of comes back. Next thing you know, he's done like 30 shows. And they basically got to a point where basically Night Ranger told Fitz that he was basically inconsistent, and I'm assuming let him go. This is just patches of interviews I've put together from Michael Lardy and others. So I don't know if he was fired, if it was mutual. It's just he was out doing other stuff, and Joel did it with Trans-Siberian Orchestra, so it's not unheard of. And I think it just got to the point where if you're doing this more and we gotta keep bringing someone in, we're just going to keep this other guy, I guess.
Yeah, makes sense.
I saw Night Ranger, and I didn't see him for a good period of time, like 5 years. And I saw him again in 2004 in Indiana, and Michael Lardy was there. That would have been the summer. And then Fitz was doing the Springsteen tour in 2005, where it was just Springsteen out on stage by himself, and backstage Fitz was playing keyboards. So really, if you look, and one thing that Bruce Springsteen does is cool is you can order every show on CD. You just go to his website. You can either download it, for a cost, obviously, but and so people trade that. So if you look on the CDs from 2005, just eBay, look on eBay or something, and you'll look on the back. It'll say Bruce Springsteen guitars, vocals, Alan Fitzgerald keyboards.
That's cool.
But Fitz was not, as far as I know, was not on stage with him. It was just kind of like the Van Halen thing, backstage, or even Kiss Alive 3, Derek Sherinian, off stage playing.
Or Gary Corbett.
Yep, Crazy Nights.
So
what about Jeff Watson?
Jeff Watson. So
let's
Gary Corbett was also on the Hot in the Shade. Crazy Nights,
So 2007.
And Debbie Gibson.
Save that for Kiss and Tail.
Yeah. So
shameless plug.
2007. I would assume this was about spring.
Huh.
I do know Night Ranger issued their statement in April. I just can't remember how. And Jeff, I think, just put it on his website, like on a message board.
Jeff, I'm sorry, you going to say what Jeff said?
I'm going to say it, but I'm talking where he posted. I think it was just on a message board. He didn't. It wasn't like a press release. It was just something that he typed. So this would have been early 2007. I would assume there were some issues going on before. To me, just how broken up Hole in the Sun was. To me, it sounds like a fragmented album. If you even look at the songwriting credits, really fragmented. This is just speculation on my point, but if you put those together, maybe they weren't, all on the same page. But I will read Jeff's email or whatever he posted. Hello, everyone. Thanks for all the emails and your concerns. I can't go too far into this, as there are now legal concerns regarding the band and situation, but I can tell you that the other 3 guys decided to throw me out and try to replace me. So he did not leave. He was kicked out. I was expecting to tour this year, and we had just finished a new CD, which would be Holding the Sun, and mixed a live one, which was that live in Shibuya or whatever. Now here's where you get to the,
he wasn't on live Shibuya, though. Red Beach is on that.
Well, hey, there we go. We got a live album out there that is, out there mixed somewhere sitting. So here we go. Brad and I had worked with an attorney for most of last year to secure an operating agreement with everyone to protect the name, etc. It was unsuccessful as Jack and Kelly refused to agree to anything with us, which is the reason we needed an agreement. No one had registered the name for 13 years, as well as many other potentially devastating business management oversights. In November of, I would assume, 2006, Yolanda and I traveled to Australia to see her gravely ill father, and since then I have not gotten a return phone call or email from anyone in the band.
Did you say Australia?
Yes.
Okay, that's what my memory is. Okay, go ahead.
Evidently, Brad decided to join up with Jack and Kelly, take the name, and split the money 3 ways. Sadly, it appears that their personal greed has trumped the loyalty to our fans. After returning home, I received a 1-page letter from an attorney saying that I was out, and that's all I know. They were actually booking shows without me before I was told anything. So I'll read the rest here in a bit, but that's where the business part ends. So it basically looks like you had 2 different factions of the band, and it's kind of like musical chairs. Jeff was left without a chair, unfortunately. And I mean, you get ownership and band. I mean, that's a big legal mess that still goes on with bands.
We just recently had the Journey issue.
Correct. So I don't know if did Jack and Kelly own the name, and Brad and Jeff are renegotiating. Who knows? I do know. I can't say I do know, but I think at one time when Night Ranger broke up, the copyright kind of expired, and I think Brad bought it. Like at one time, Brad was the sole owner. I don't know. Like I said, that I don't even know where I got that from, but I don't know what he could have even done with it. But eventually, I know that had to morph into Kelly and Gary Moon, because I know those 3 all shared a third of ownership, because that was a big thing for Gary to come in and them give him basically a third. He wasn't like a Night Ranger. He
wasn't a hired gun.
Correct. Night Ranger, the band is Brad, Jack, and Kelly. Carrie Kelly and Eric Levy, and you guys know this, some people don't. They are employees. They're employees just like the tour manager, just like the guy that runs the merch, whatever. But their job is to come up on stage and do their job. So it's easier when you get the bulk. It's easier to split it 3 ways than it is 4. Not easier, but you get a little bit more in your pocket. Not saying that was it. It could be just, okay, you've dealt with personalities and they don't match up, and maybe Brad saw the writing on the wall, and
and maybe
because
I don't want to say it.
Yeah, don't.
Well, I mean, you could go. I mean, think about it. You got, hey, we'll get me and Kelly. If I'm Jack Blades, me and Kelly will get Red Beach and Joel Hoekstra. That could work. I mean, the people that said, "Oh, the band can't go without Jeff Watson," no one cares. You could get Jeff Watson and Brad Gillis leave, no one cares. It's at that point now.
I would care. I love Brad.
Well,
I do love Brad.
Well, I love Jeff.
But I know what you're saying, because I was like, when Jeff was gone, I was like, they'll never replace Jeff Watson.
Yeah,
I felt like
it's
that.
just like, Kiss, Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer. Yeah, you got the people that can't be happy in life. Not Ace and Peter.
Yeah, but I don't care about that. I'm happy there.
You see what I'm saying? They're still selling out arenas. Journey's not in a rush to get back with Steve Perry. You know why? It's because they can go play 18,000 seat amphitheaters,
all day,
and they don't have the headache, and they don't have to pay Steve Perry money.
But they are co-headlining in those tours, though, too. They're not.
How much money do you need to get? They're not touring for money. Those guys aren't. It's different if you're
The singer is
LA Guns. Yeah, but the singer's tour. I mean, that's
he's
different.
a hired gun.
He's living the life. So now, let me finish Jeff's email. In the meantime, I'm playing, writing, recording constantly while trying to figure out how people can behave so badly after 27 years of working together. Anyone thinking of buying tickets to see the show should know that it won't be Night Ranger they're going to see. Although I've heard the name and picture are wrong, that my name and picture are wrongly being used in the ads. Other than that, my father was diagnosed with lung cancer and is going in for surgery today, so I'm very worried. I hope this answers your questions. Please let anyone that asks know that I'm fine and have positive thoughts for my dad. He needs them. All the best, Jeff Watson. So there you go. And listen, if you, sometimes you get to a point, I see Jack in I guess that side. If personalities clash and you've got the power, you just do what you got to do. I also see Jeff's side a lot, man. It's just, Jeff didn't want to leave the band. How that has to hurt to be, in a band that you love and your buddy you've been in a band with and done all that, all the crazy stuff you guys have done together, basically jump ship the way it sounds. Again, that's Jeff's side, so we don't know. But
what I wonder is if there was one key thing that he said in that release, the name hadn't been registered in how many years, whatever. Speculation is, was he trying to take over?
Well, it would have been. Here it is. Brad and I had worked with an attorney for most of last year to secure an operating agreement. So it's just they're trying to negotiate. I don't think they're trying to take over anything, but what it sounds like is it was unsuccessful as Jack and Kelly refused to agree to anything with us. So it looks like there's two sides and they're negotiating, and finally they made a deal with Brad and whenever that.
One day that'll all come out right here on this show with one of the members.
Well, they don't. Well, I'm not going to ask him. I don't care anymore. But if Jeff's on and Jeff wants to tell his side of the story, I'm for that. But the guy's a Night Ranger. Don't need to talk about it.
No, they don't. Especially when they were at NAMM and there was a chance, like Joel said, they could have played together.
So here is Night Ranger's response. This was a press release by them. We are shocked and saddened to learn of Jeff Watson's comments regarding his departure from Night Ranger. There are 4 sides to this story. Our 3 are the same, only Jeff's is different. While we don't want to get into details at the point in time, we are all truly sorry that our significant and continuing differences with Jeff. So significant and continuing differences with Jeff could not be worked out. Still, we wish Jeff nothing but success in all his future endeavors and all that blah, blah, blah stuff. It's written by an attorney or someone.
Exactly.
Grateful for his positive contributions to the past. Night Ranger is listed as Jack Blades, Brad Gillis, and Kelly Kagi. Now, after that happened, Night Rangers, they got Joel Hoekstra and Christian in the band. Even with them in the band, if you went to Night Ranger's website, I even think they did some T-shirts. Night Ranger was branded there for about 6 months as Jack, the 3 of them, Jack, Kelly, and Brad. I think Jack's got
all that was on the shirt as well,
like a turquoise shirt, and he's kind of looking over his sunglasses. And maybe Kelly's got his arms crossed or something. But that
actually came up on my news feed about a month or two ago when Andy and I went to that bicentennial concert. That's how they built that concert even.
Yeah.
And they had the big Night Ranger logo behind them, like in gray or something like that. And
now, if you went to the website and you actually went into bios, they had Joel and Christian. But if you went to the homepage, it was just those three. So they were branding it. I think they were probably testing out Joel and Christian. Hey, are they going to be around for a while? Because by the next year, the 8x10 promo shots contained them. So there you go. And
and they were even in the background though.
Well, here's and I need to tell the story sometime, but I met obviously Jack different times throughout their career, but I saw Shaw Blades in December of 2007. And I was able to meet Jack one-on-one. He had his handler or whatever with him, had my girlfriend at the time. And we were alone. And if you've ever met Jack and he's got time and you're not doing like the meet and greets, probably more like in the 90s, early 2000s, and Jack's in a good mood, dude, he'll talk to you and you're just trying to keep up.
Yep.
And he was, man. He's just talking to me and he's like, oh, you got my shirt on. I had Dawn Patrol shirt on, and he's like, yeah, man, I'll of course I'll take a picture. And we took a picture and he's just talking. And out of nowhere, he goes, you heard Jeff is suing me, right? And I'm just like,
yeah, I heard that.
I knew Jeff had left. I didn't know if I heard Jeff was suing him, but I was more taken back like, you don't know me from anyone. Yeah. And you're, but yeah, he's like, I can't believe that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I didn't know what to say, but
maybe he was trying to find out more information about it, Well,
what's funny is though, when we were trying to take the picture, we were in this big ballroom. He's looking around like for the cool backdrop, and he saw this like tile on this wall across the way. He's like, let's go over here. So we all over there, and he makes his whoever he was with take the picture. But anyways, so there was a lawsuit confirmed by Jack to me. I don't know how it ever ended or anything like that. I'm sure there was some agreement, talked about, but it would be cool if those guys would ever do something again. But you're also at the point in life where, adding Jeff Watson back to the band is probably not going to increase any sales. So on their end, it would be just, honestly, if you're not into being sentimental and, hey, man, we started this together, let's end it together. If you're just into the money and the business, and there's no reason to, it'd be nice, though, to do it for the fans, and the fans would enjoy it. And, Jeff would enjoy it, I don't know. Well, it would be nice if Jeff was still in there, man. But
the cool thing I've learned from this page is that the fans are very accepting of Eric, Carrie, Joel, all of them. It's great. And I mean, that's what we promote anyway.
Yeah. And so I think. They're actually supportive, like even like the Gary Moon era.
Yeah.
Someone posted something of Gary Moon.
I saw that the other day.
And
I saw that the other day. You commented.
Again, we have a short lease on negativity. So I think you get some people. I don't like Carrie. I only like Joel. And it's like, who gives a shit? It's fucking 2020, dude. Get over it. It would
not on our page. You don't.
It would be cool if they would. It would be cool if they would even do something where, okay, in a couple years, we're not doing a farewell tour, but maybe they do something with Jeff and Fitz, and they do it. Maybe they jump on a tour with Journey, play some big shows, and then after it's done, okay, I remember there's a reason why we don't play with Jeff and Fitz. Mm-hmm. You go back to what you're doing and go on. I don't know.
Hell, give us a one-off show at Chicago or something. I mean, I'd go.
Yeah, I mean...
Or come to Nashville. It's easier for me.
But that is your reasons.
Next question.
Everything you read is exactly because I remember calling Andy. I'm like, "Did you see Jeff Watson's statement?" I was like, because yeah, it was before Night Ranger's statement, and it kind of blew me away. I wasn't expecting it. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh,"
Yeah. So I'm just going to jump into the questions here on the page. James Gillen asked, what about an episode on Todd, their tour manager, and tribute to his life? Todd was tour manager, passed away, I think, February of last year. Definitely something I've got on my list, but it's got to be something done right. I definitely want, Eric
somebody
or
that's
Joel.
close to him. Yeah,
I mean, we can't do it. I
don't know.
I met him once, I think, and talked to him for a little, well, maybe twice. Talked to him in Detroit, I think, but that I can't, so it's on my list. It's something, it would take a little work to put together, but it would be something like whoever we were talking to would have to kind of lead it and build it. But
that would just be story time for us even at that point, just like it was when Eric was telling them.
Well, Eric, it's obviously one I'd probably reach out to because he told great stories to begin with.
Sure.
So Kathy Kirkman Lane. I don't know the answer. I didn't watch the damn clip. She wanted to know something about 24 strings and a drummer. Kelly says, we had a story about the last song, right? When you close your eyes and Batista tell another story. Do you guys know anything about that? Because I didn't watch the clip.
No, I mean, I have no idea what he was going to say. There's no way for me to know what.
So there's no way to interpret it? You guys know what they're talking about, though?
Yeah, but I have no idea what he was going to say.
Well, I will.
So we got nothing.
We'll work on that. Yeah, this is a great episode. Thanks for sending your questions.
No, it was really about tribute bands.
Who has the genie lamps? From Bethany. I do not know. If you're anything like those guys, they probably don't.
It's in the Cave of Wonders.
Well, you'd be surprised how much shit got tossed. They don't think of that stuff, or they probably think it's going to some warehouse, and some yahoo's like, trash that shit.
They probably didn't think anything about it.
Now, Jack, when he lived in California at the ranch where they did all the recording and everything, he had a barn, and I know late 90s, maybe, I could be wrong on some of these dates. I remember him talking about them really going in and like sorting through all that stuff and them finding a whole bunch of stage stuff.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I don't know what, again, this was before social.
You mean that lamp from the stage or the stage from the video?
Or
the lamp from the video?
I don't know. I'm going from the stage. I mean, to me,
I'm going for the lamp from the video. That's in the Cave of Wonders.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the stage lamp, the big one.
Yeah, I didn't think about
that one. That's a mystery as well. Could Jack have it? But then again, Jack doesn't live there anymore. So,
but then again, that stuff is, Stageco or whoever they get it from. Sometimes they don't even own it. Sometimes, I mean, sure, Kiss has a bunch of stuff too, but they don't own every stage. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just like if you go back in time and you look at Motley Crue on the Livewire video, that drum riser, after that, went to Rat. And after that, it went to somewhere else, Yeah. Motley built it, but they sold it to Rat.
Dave Nadelman has 3 questions. 1, would love to know what song got shelved for Secret of My Success.
Yeah.
I think, Brent, you said Girls All Like It. Which makes sense. What threw me off and why I didn't originally say that is because in an interview from that time period, I think it was Brad said, we threw off a song that was like, Don't Tell Me You Love Me. Well, Girls All Like It's not Don't Tell Me You Love Me. But it makes sense because Night Ranger, as far as we know, they recorded the songs that were going to be on the album. They didn't release stuff on B-sides, anything like that. Girls All Like It. Now, Wild and Innocent Youth was just on a soundtrack. Right. Girls All Like It was recorded for Big Life. We think that's the album that was going to be on there. They kicked it off, and put on Secret of My Success, which
And the thing is, it wouldn't have fit anyway. It doesn't fit that album.
no, I mean it's an all right song. It's I mean to me that's the song you kick off. And
Yeah.
if you notice, I think he lifts some of those lyrics for Damn Yankees, Rock City.
Mm-hmm.
Something about Jimmy Page, guitar hung low like Jimmy Page. And question number 2, what's Jeff Watson doing these days?
Back surgery.
Recovering.
Yeah,
Back surgery.
I
single?
think he's put something on Facebook. I messaged Jeff briefly with a couple questions, and I don't want people to think I talk to these dudes like I'm best buddies with them. I'm not. But Jeff had said, and I think he posted on his page too, but Jeff had said he had back surgery. He's major back surgery. And then with COVID, he hasn't really been able to do like the physical therapy as much as you like. So he's not 100%. So there's that. And then he released that track in early July. Whitewater, I think, was the title track.
Yeah.
It was recorded a couple years ago, from what I remember. The video was actually pretty cool. I mean, it was all right. Jesse Bradman, who did the Man in Motion tour, Chicka Chicka Brown Cow, who did the Man in Motion tour on keys.
I didn't know why you did that. Now I know.
Jade, stage 5.
Actually did the vocals for that track. And Dave Nadelman, number 3, why doesn't Tom Chapin just change his name to Chapin? Well, you weren't to be changing his name because his name fucking is Chapin. He needs to change it to Chapin. I can't help it. Damn, people don't pronounce their names right.
Tom's got like 3 episodes in a row that Chapin's been mentioned on now.
Bring him on the show.
He's a real nice guy. I've spoken to both he and Dave, and when we did the chat room on a Friday night, and
Nerd.
They're good. They're good guys. They're really good guys. Good salt of the earth,
Yeah, I'm calling them nerds while we do a podcast on Friday night.
About Night Ranger.
It's 11:12
I'm
p.m.
not a nerd.
It's 11:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing our second show tonight.
Hey, you know what? Keeps my nose clean. You know what I mean?
And we're bogus sugar.
Thank you, Ace Frehley.
Gail Okay, how is it? Gail Romain? Gail
Spell
Roman?
it.
Romain.
Romaine.
Okay, I'll go with you there. Number 1, what are some of the more unusual side projects the guys have done individually? So,
The shoe shine business was great. No, I'm joking.
Playing in mediocre cover band in Cincinnati.
Side projects.
I don't know that they've done any.
Well,
have
I mean, they've done their own solo albums.
Well, you got Brad Gillis. He does all, like, if you watch Sports Center, and you watch the highlights and stuff, and you hear the guitar back here playing in the background, you don't really pay attention to it because you're listening to them talk, and you're watching them play the game. But that's Brad. So you have Brad doing all that backup stuff, and then I would say
Christian does similar stuff like that. He scores commercials and movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then past member anyway.
And then Jack, he did that album in 2007, 6, 4, 5.
Came out right before High Road.
No. I'm talking about the Tac Macchiato group, TMK or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's this big guitarist in Japan. It only released in Japan. Big guitarist in Japan. Eric Martin from Mr. Big on vocals. Brian Tichy from Dead Daisies and 100 other groups on drums. And Jack on bass. That was kind of a unique, weird, different thing. And, you got Revolution Saints, I guess, but, unique or weird. That would be where I go. I can't really think of anything for Kelly. I mean, Fitz, a lot of people, I think maybe we take it, as common knowledge, but Fitz in the early 90s played keyboards live for Van Halen, but he was off stage. So when you're hearing Jump and Eddie's out there with his guitar, the keyboard is being played by Fitz backstage. That would happen in the 90s, and I think he did the Sammy tour in 2004. So there's Fitz. I mean, I guess in the Fitz, like I said, Bruce Springsteen, that was a little bit odd pairing, but he did it.
I mean, Kelly did what, scrap metal?
Yeah, scrap.
That's weird. I mean, just saying.
Well, scrap metal, like I said, I was there for the formation of that. It wasn't scrap metal, but it was songwriters in Nashville for Tin Pan Alley, and they did it, and they're like, wow, we can make some money doing stuff when we are not doing stuff with our bands, and we can interchange. So it was originally Kelly Kagi on drums, Gunnar Nelson on guitar vocals, and Mark Slaughter on guitar vocals. And then they would bring in other people. Like, I know Eric Martin eventually, sang, and then they added the other Nelson brother, and then Kelly Kagi got too busy, and they added another drummer. And they did, a lot of dates there for a while, 2006, 7, 8, somewhere in there. They headlined the Melodic Rock Fest, the first one in South Bend, in 2007. So by then it was scrap metal, and they, Kelly Kagi, Mark Slaughter, and Gunnar Nelson, but they had Jim Peterick and Jimmy Jameson from Survivor, and Joe Lynn Turner, Jack Blades, and they would all come in and play with those guys. Yeah. So, yeah, just off the top of my head, those would be probably the most unique. Her second question, Gail's, was what are some of the craziest tour stop locations they have done over the years? One that jumps out of the top of my head, Guantanamo Bay. Night Ranger played down there.
For the troops. Yeah,
I just remember some of the photos. It would have been the last 15 years sometime throughout there, maybe between 2005 and... I don't think Jeff was with them, so maybe 2007 to 2012.
What the hell was that mall they played in?
So that would have been, I can't remember his name. Shoot. I apologize. He's on my face. He doesn't post a lot, but he's been on the page for a long time, and I apologize. But yeah, he posted pictures of Night Ranger playing in a mall in like Lima, Ohio.
It was the weirdest. I mean, I remember Tiffany doing the mall tour.
Well, back
when we were young.
And there's like a K Jewelers in the background.
Yeah.
And, like, what got me was it was Lima. I'm like, how did I not know about this? But again, it shows you that even in 2003, your world was small before social media.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. When I talk about like lost years, Night Ranger's website was a mess. I mean, I don't even know if they had an official one all the time, because I would have went to that if I had known about it, or at least.
And it was daytime. You could see down the thing. You could see the daylight coming through the doors.
So they're playing during the day, like on a stage in a mall. This is 2003. Fitz is there. So that's why I asked him.
That's a story I'd love to hear about.
That's why I asked him. I was like, "What year was this?" And I think he threw out some years, and I knew. I think he said maybe 2003 to 2005, and I knew that it couldn't be 4 or 5. So probably 2003.
I heard Kelly was late showing up. They kept saying, "Where's Kelly? He's looking for a Chess King." Chess King, that shirt he wore in When You Close Your Eyes. It's the gray suede shirt with the black. That came from Chess King, because I had one just like it.
Yep.
Remember that, Andy?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
And I'm like, Kelly shops at Chess King.
At Eastgate Mall.
Eastgate Mall, no, it wasn't that one. That was great.
Another shows that I've seen is like when they would go to Japan, they would come back and play Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1 or 2. I think they did on Man in Motion, if I remember. So those would have probably been cool. Again, I don't know anything about them. I think I actually have a promo ad for maybe one of the Hawaii shows. As for personal shows...
You saw the hotel. Yeah, I'll shut up.
The what?
The hotel you were in?
The hotel I was in.
The hotel when they were first got back together?
Oh, yeah. Well, shit. I forgot. I was going to go chronologically here.
Yeah.
Trying to
I'm
think.
Sorry.
I'm just I saw them at the small rock clubs on the Mojo stuff. Nothing.
We did too.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Some great stories, but your typical rock club. So, again, 1996. I saw them in December of '95, and nothing seemed out of whack. They're just supporting the new album, and there's internet, but no one really had it. There's no way, they're not in magazines, so you don't have any idea what Night Ranger's doing unless you call like Ticketmaster and like, hey, do you see any tickets for Night Ranger? Problem is they're playing rock clubs, and a lot of times they print their own tickets, to save money. So I got the idea to call Drive Entertainment. That was their label that they were on, was Drive on Feeding Off. So I had a phone number on the back of the record. I called, and I'm like, I'm trying to, like, they think I want to meet the band and shit. I'm like, I don't care about meeting the band. I just want, give me someone in your organization just to tell me, are they on tour and where are they at? That's all I want. And finally, I convinced them, I didn't want to talk to Kelly or Brad, and they gave me the number to their road manager. And eventually, I got a hold of him, and he's like, how'd you get this number? And I told him, and again, I had to do the whole convincing, like, listen, I don't give a shit about Brad or Kelly. Are they on tour? You guys got dates coming up? And he told me this was in spring. He's the one that told me that they were no longer with Gary, that they were getting all the original members back together. So I found that they were playing in July. It was July 20th. My buddy Ed, it was his birthday. And we were going down on his birthday to Owensboro, Kentucky. Not a very decent sized city, maybe, 60,000 if that. And they were playing at a Marriott. Now, that Marriott did have like concerts every weekend of medium sized groups. I can't remember who then, but if it was now, it might be Tracy Lawrence one weekend, and then the next weekend Foghat. That's about who would be now. I don't know if the place is still there or not. I'm just giving examples. So when I had met Kelly in December of that year, he'd given me an all-access pass, and my buddy Ed, because he was with us. So we didn't buy tickets. We just went with our all-access passes, and we found the road manager, and he got us a table. And it was weird because it was a stage, a dance floor, and then the old dinner style seating, which you don't see very much anymore. So I'm sitting there, and I knew the people I was sitting with they were in their 70s. They had checked into the hotel, and here's 2 tickets to tonight's show. And I remember talking to them, they had no idea what they're seeing. So Night Ranger comes out, and it's just people in a dinner, and it's just an empty floor, and the stage is only, I don't know, up to a little bit past my kneecaps. And it's it's awesome. It's the original band, but everybody's just sitting there. And they're up there rocking. No one's standing in front of the stage, just an empty dance floor. And what's weird is they, I don't want to get out too much information. This is cool little information we could save for the album focus. But, so the lights go down. I'm going to see the original Night Ranger. I haven't seen them since I was 8 years old, 1985, right? And the lights go down. And what starts playing? The beginning of Mojo, where there's bass modulations that dum 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 dum, and it's just on a loop. And then they come out, and I'm like, that is so fucking weird that they come out to Mojo. Yeah. And like Jack allowed it.
He probably didn't know.
But
he didn't know.
Eventually, they told people to come up, and I went up, and it was just cool. I was right in front of Jack. I got a guitar pick, but they had to bust ass out of there after the show. And so everybody was busy except for one person took the time to bullshit with me. That was Fitz. That was the first time I got to meet him. I got to meet him again the next year. And again, sat there and talked to me for a long time. But Fitz was cool, and I didn't realize how cool it was till I never really got to talk to him again after those 2 times. But I got a picture with him that day. And the one thing that he told me, and that's probably a better time as Zany, that show was, it got me thinking about, or it changed my perspective on music and how shit goes out of fashion and this music sucks and this stuff is good. Because I remember telling him that I didn't like the music of my generation. and I couldn't stand stuff like Smashing Pumpkins. This is 1996, and he goes, every generation has their own music, and just enjoy yours and don't worry about it. Something like that. I can't remember exactly, but I just remember him saying every generation has their own music. And when I, it's like, and I start, so I don't do that anymore. It's like, this new music sucks, and it's not me. It's like, you're just, if it was 1954, you'd be saying Elvis sucked, and go fucking listen to my Guy Lombardo records. That's basically what you would be in 1954. So I've always stuck by that. So that was a weird show for me, was that original reunion show in 96.
That tops our Chili Fest for sure.
Yeah, which you guys got on video.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking real quick, I think it's been mentioned before, but when you're talking about odd tour stops or whatever, Brent, you can probably speak to the WEBN show.
WEBN.
What about the radio broadcast?
Yeah, the one that Greg
that
Thomas.
was just when they were on tour with Kiss for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, but they played in the studio, right?
They came into the EBN studios and played that radio show that everybody, because people on the thing were laughing, saying, the guy didn't know who they were, called him Knight Rider. Well, and I went ahead and set the record straight. Craig Kopp wasn't a DJ. Craig Kopp was in the newsroom. He would just happen to be on the air with Robin Wood, doing it on a Sunday night. So that was just something that Night Ranger came in to get noticed locally. And, and the sad thing about it is I think they came back 2 or 3 weeks later and played Bogarts after that.
I think that radio recording's out there. I think it's is it promoted by Little Kings or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So that went out live on the radio here in town, and Andy and I are fortunate enough to know a guy, Greg Thomas, and Greg got us one right off the soundboard from EBN. Got a copy of it. So.
Yeah. Josh, I know you've probably got other questions, but let me chime in and see if you know anything about this. It's been said, I've seen Night Ranger. We've all seen Night Ranger many times in Ohio. Brent, you can probably attest to this. Jack, the story I've always heard is Ohio is one of the first states to actually play Night Ranger and give them radio.
Probably
mostly,
Cleveland.
I think Cleveland, because I've heard Jack say
there's a station in Cleveland. I don't know.
MMS.
Ohio is very important, they have a soft spot for Ohio in their hearts because of gave them.
You guys know the Huey Lewis.
The heart of it all.
You guys know the Huey Lewis song, "The Heart of Rock and Roll is Still Beating."
In Cleveland, yeah.
Well, they wrote that song after playing in Cleveland, and just the radio was giving them a big boost, and the show was so great that night. I don't remember if Huey said it to someone or if someone said it to him, but someone said, "The heart of rock and roll is in Cleveland." And that's originally how that song was written.
Oh, okay.
The heart of rock and roll is in Cleveland. Well, they changed it to make it obviously
the
more. The
cadence is still the same.
But originally it was, and so Cleveland, that area, and I can't say right now, but I was up there doing military stuff in 2008, 7, and that rock radio, they were playing new stuff that I hadn't heard. Like down here in Columbus, if they play Kid Rock, you're hearing Ba Wada Bang and all that stuff. Yeah. But they were playing like new stuff off of his like Rock and Roll Jesus record, which is a really good rock album. But I didn't hear it in Columbus, but I heard it up there. And there's I can't remember all the other stuff, but I was hearing rock, some great stuff up there. So even 10 years ago, it was still going, which you guys have a decent classic rock radio station, I think out of Dayton, 103.1, maybe?
Yeah, WTUE 104.7.
Maybe, I don't know. But
yeah,
but yeah,
Dayton's all right, but
Cleveland.
Well, I was saying this, just it seemed like I've heard the story many times when I've seen him in Ohio, and it seems heartfelt. We know rock stars always tell the same story. I mean, But Jack's always seemed very heartfelt when he said that, Ohio, and especially if he's in the Northeast, like I saw him up at the Northfield Casino, and he kind of hinted at that again. He's like, this city was one of the first cities to ever give us a shot.
Yeah.
Well, and that's pretty much why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's in Cleveland, because they broke so many bands on the radio up there. Rush, Kiss was first played in Cleveland,
Well,
I believe.
They also gave the most money and land
Yeah.
to build it too, because you could have made that argument for New York City, which
we're all surprised.
Yeah. And the radio station stuff, there are certain exact radio stations that have broke songs. I can't think of any of the stories right off the top of my head, but the artist will be like, hey, there's a station in Austin that flipped the A side over and played the B side, and it just took off.
And it goes right back to my point when I was saying how Cincinnati, you might have had a top 10 hit, but it doesn't mean it was played heavily everywhere,
Yeah.
So Lisa Shively, I believe this topic has been touched on before, but what is the assumption and reasoning on why Night Ranger was not as well known, successful as Journey or Styx? They are awesome, had several hits, but most only know Sister Christian is mentioned. So we'll start with that first part of the question. So, you guys want to give?
Yeah, I can start off. Usually, bands like Night Ranger don't suck like Journey and Styx did. So,
Brent does not. Brent's opinion does not represent the core.
I give Lisa. I think Lisa likes Journey more than anybody on the face of the earth, and I always give her shit.
Look, I would say, and again, I stick with the term intellectual honesty. I love Night Ranger, but Sister Christian is not Open Arms, or it's not Don't Stop Believing.
Thank
Journey
God.
had bigger hits. I love Night Ranger. I'll throat punch somebody who wants to talk shit about Night Ranger. But, and Styx too. I mean, Styx had a run of hits, man. Do I think their songs are better than Night Ranger? No, but that's a personal choice. But I mean, Brent, you and I also we love an artist named Butch Walker, who most people don't even know who the hell he is. So it's taste.
Last album.
I think as a broader taste, I think Journey just has a worldwide appeal, man. Worldwide. And Styx is the same way, and I would say REO Speedwagon up till, late 80s still had that kind of appeal. I mean, our era, Brent, nothing could compete with High Infidelity and Journey's Escape album. That stuff was constantly played, and
Caddyshack. I think Caddyshack had a lot to do with Journey too, as far as Any Way You Want It. That whole segment in Caddyshack, everybody talked about that scene.
Yeah,
everybody talked about that.
I mean, obviously we're not experts; it's just opinions. But that's just me being honest. I love Night Ranger.
Plus, Journey catered to MTV immediately. They were one of the first MTV concerts. They recorded at the Houston Summit, and I remember seeing those videos, and Neil Sean had an MTV shirt on, and thinking, "Oh my God, look at that! He's got an MTV shirt. How coincidental is that?" That's what I was thinking as a kid.
That's my opinion, Josh.
There's a few keys. I think the way she worded it is, why are they not as popular now as Journey or Styx? The first thing is longevity. Every year that you're at the top of the charts, you are creating a shit ton of fans who are eventually going to whittle down to your hardcores and be there for the rest of your life. So the more years that you're big, the more years you're going to be able to collect hardcore fans. Night Ranger really had a run 84 to 86.
Yeah.
Okay? 3 years of really collecting a ton of fans to get those that hardcore era that are like us. Okay? You got to think, when you go to Journey had hits straight up from 1978, 79, 80. What was Escape? 81. Frontiers was 83. Race on Radio was 86. That's almost a 10-year stretch of just owning not only radio but MTV. and you own soundtracks. I mean, think about the hits that aren't on albums. So when the albums aren't being released, you got Vision Quest, whatever, Only Young. And it seems like
Tron.
They
had that Tron song.
And even think about the live album in 1980, The Party's Over, Hopelessly in Love. That was a studio single off that live album. That was even a mild hit, and their songs were massive.
Yeah,
I mean, they're also they're iconic,
especially with Journey. Journey's iconic.
So you had all those years of not just 84 to 86. They had 78 to 86. And another thing you don't think of is how big that Greatest Hits album was. I mean, that might be one of the best put together greatest hits of just, it's not, here's our hits and Rumors in the Air. It is just hit after hit after hit. And to me, that was, I knew Journey from the Atari game and stuff, but, and I had Journey, maybe Escape, and my aunts had the posters on the wall. So I knew some of their songs. But when Greatest Hits came out, I mean, I probably, like most people, it really, and that is one of the best-selling albums of all time. So you have
what is the best-selling Greatest Hits of all time?
Probably Eagles.
Yes, that's correct.
But
like 15 million copies or something like that.
But that one's right up there. And then another thing is, who do you cater to? Now, Night Ranger fits this, and that's why. The second part is, why are they not Y and T? Well, this answers why Night Ranger is bigger than Y and T, but it also explains why bands like Journey, Styx, and who the fuck are we talking about? Who am I missing? Styx, Journey, and
I said REO.
REO Speedwagon are so big. Is because you have the rocking songs, and then you got the soft songs.
Well, you got the girl crowd at that point.
Well, you guys are still listening to Goodbye and 4 in the Morning and Sister Christian, so you're part of that girl crowd too.
I cut Goodbye out of my set.
Nah,
don't give me shit.
Cut it. You're still whistling in the background. So, but what I'm saying is, you have that heart where Y and T never had those rock ballads. They were straight up hard rock. So it would just be like, "Don't Tell Me You Love Me, You Still Rock in America." They never had that big ballad really that broke them. So they had a long career, and that's why they're able to do it, because they had a long career, but they never had that huge crossover hit. So that's why Night Ranger, like I said, the reason why Night Ranger is able to do what they do today is because of Seven Wishes having those, obviously Sister Christian, but having those 4 top 20 hits right after it. That's why they're able to do what they're doing now. But the reason why they're not Journey or Styx is just because they weren't around as much, and they didn't have as many hits.
It's not as many hits.
I don't recall Styx being that huge.
Styx has
Paradise Theater.
Run.
Styx had the albums Grand Illusion, Pieces of Eight, Cornerstone, and
Kilroy.
Paradise Theater. Those 4 albums, either, I don't know if the record still stands, but there's something with those 4 albums all still being in, like,
even Kilroy.
I'll tell you what.
You got too much time on my hands, right?
That's not Kilroy. That's Paradise Theater.
Paradise. You're talking Don't Let It In. Don't Let It In, and Mr. Roboto.
And Dr. Righteous.
No, you're right. I get the albums mixed up.
The album's still sold. I mean,
no.
I don't think they've aged well.
I just don't remember. I don't remember Styx really being.
I do.
The band.
Rockin'. What's the damn song now? Tonight's the night we'll make it.
The best of times.
That was people's prom song, man.
I mean, Babe was the #1 hit off Cornerstone, and but those, anyways, they hold a record. Led Zeppelin didn't have it. I don't think the Beatles had it, and I had to look it up. But they had a record, and I don't know if it's ever been broken, of 4 albums in the top 100 for 4 years or something like that. It was just crazy. crazy feat that they had.
I'm not saying you. I'm not. I just don't remember. I remember them being big, but I don't remember them being ruling the world.
Oh,
I just don't. I just don't remember them being.
I do. Renegade.
Yeah,
I mean, but think about this.
I had Pieces of 8 as a kid, even.
But even if you're doing, let's say you're doing "Come Sail Away," and you're doing "Mr. Roboto," all right, which was a hit kind of when it was released. You're talking 1976 to 1983. Those are different generations. That's the 70s. Hey, let's get in the Trans Am and smoke. You have the MTV crowd from the 80s. That's again why are they bigger than Night Ranger? Well, they were in the mass market for a longer time. So longevity and really your broad appeal.
Yeah, I guess I'm not disputing that. I'm just don't.
No, don't.
I mean, I had Paradise Theater and Pieces of 8, and we had Cornerstone on 8-track, but they weren't the center of my. They were your Dawn Patrol. It's not something I would always go to. I mean, we had it, we listened to it.
But
Kiss Unmasked. Music from the other Tom Chapin.
Jackson Gildart. Let's see here. I use foul language. He's just joking around. Do you guys know anything about what may have caused, or know anyone who would know what may have caused Jack's voice to change between the band's first run, Dawn Patrol, to the breakup to the second run, Neverland to now? Was it Damn Yankees related, or was it just the drugs and alcohol lifestyle of a rock star that changed his voice? That's actually a good question. To me, I heard the change in his voice from Don't Tread to Shaw Blades.
I don't have an ear for
I don't think it really changed that much.
Well, listen to Jack Blades on Don't Tread and listen to Jack Blades on Neverland. Those are not the same voice. Shaw Blades is the first time, and it's hard to describe. I've talked about this before with, I'm not going to say the name just because he's in the business, but he described it as twangy, like Jack got a little twangy. And I'm not saying his voice is bad. It's just it's different. But throw in Don't Tread and throw in Neverland, and Jack's voice is different. And Jackson is hearing it, and
I noticed he sang a little differently, but I don't think his voice changed.
I've never noticed it, but I will give it a listen.
Yeah, it's not the same as the classic era of the Damn Yankees. I first noticed on Shaw Blades. When I listen to Shaw Blades, it's like Jack doesn't sound the same. Now I'm thinking, well, maybe it's an acoustic album kind of, and he's singing a little bit differently. But then when Neverland came out, I was like, whoa, his voice isn't the same as... So why? I have no idea. We could talk about Paul Stanley's voice. Well, it comes with age, and he had surgery. As far as we know, Jack has.
Paul's went from 2009. It went from being good and steady until when Andy and I went to see him at Cobo before they tore down Cobo. And I'll never forget looking at Andy. He was on my left shoulder, just like Joe was at the Motley Crue concert. And I looked at Andy, and they were doing Parasite, and Paul's voice cracked, and I said, "What the hell was that?" Yeah. Remember that, Andy?
Yeah, I can tell he does.
I think it's Paul singing 40 years way too high.
His voice cracked about 4 or 5 times, and I remember calling my buddy Tom on the way out of the Cobo, to give him a full report. And I told him, I said, something's wrong with Paul's voice. He's like, well, I noticed that back in 2004 because it was getting kind of gravelly more back then, but he still sounded great. And
Jack's voice is not nowhere near like what we're talking about.
I think
Paul.
Jack sounds fantastic still.
Correct. It's just a different style. I don't know if he's like singing through the nose more than I don't know. It is different. I think
he just sings to whatever the song he's singing.
Well, his voice just isn't like it was on those classic albums and on Damn Yankees. It's just, it isn't. You notice it more on the studio albums than you do live. When you see him live, like a lot of things. But yeah, do we know what caused it? No. We've never heard of him ever having any surgeries or anything like that. So go ahead and think of something while I start looking for the other thing. We'll talk a little bit longer and we'll end this. Unless you're going to fall asleep on us, Andy.
Oh my God, I'm so tired.
Are you?
It's almost like it's midnight.
Well, we've been basically
it's not.
discussing
It's not
for 6
midnight.
hours.
So let's. I just want to.
Conversing for 6 hours.
I just want to see if I can find.
Had a half-hour break.
I know people that say, I don't know how you guys talk about Night Ranger for so long. You know, how much is there to talk about? And I'm like, we just talked about one album for 3 hours. We haven't talked about their career. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, it's good stuff.
And normally we don't. We don't record for 6 hours. It's just we had an individual that we wanted to talk to, and this was the only time, and we just needed to do this, so we got time to, finish everything. And
well, and I got to go on vacation. It's hard.
So we kind of doubled up.
Moving into a new house, it wears me down. I got to take a break.
I didn't know this was going to take so long.
Yeah.
I'll do a little bit.
Yeah, Josh said, we're going to get on here. We'll do an intro. We'll be an hour. We'll be done. And we started this at 9:30.
You guys.
Well, the timer
10:30,
says 2 hours.
2 hours.
Okay, here we go. Were there any songs that Jack Blades worked on for Night Ranger that became Damn Yankees songs? And were there any Damn Yankees songs that became Night Ranger songs?
Girls All Like It. We already talked about that.
That one line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know people have talked about, I think they've said, like, well, Brad said Coming of Age could have been a Night Ranger song. I've heard how that was written by them in an interview or whatever, that Coming of Age, that I think that was a song Brad had maybe said, but that dun 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 at the very beginning, Tommy was messing around with that on a piano. Jack heard it, and they wrote that. So that wasn't something...
See, and I always thought High Enough should have been a Night Ranger song, but isn't there a story behind that too? Like Jack was working on it, and Tommy's like, "Hey, what is that?"
He was at Tommy's house, I think, doing laundry, and Jack was singing a couple lines just to himself, and Tommy's like, "Hey, what's that?" And he's like, "Yeah, just something I've been messing with. Let's go upstairs and work on it." So that's where High Enough came from.
Well, he had a deal with Woolite, and he was going to do a commercial. Can you make it wide enough?
Okay.
Or will you wash me over? Wash me over.
All right.
Fade away.
But there's no Night Ranger songs that I know became.
See, that's what I do.
Damn Yankee stuff. Nothing that I know of, except that one line from Girls All Like It made it into Rock City. I don't want to give too much because we're going to do an album focus, but a couple of the songs were Ted only, a couple of songs were Tommy only, and then maybe 6 were co-written as a group. So I don't think Jack brought anything. Any songs that were written for Damn Yankees that became Night Ranger songs, no, but there was some Damn Yankees songs recorded for that third album that ended up on Jack's solo album and stuff like that.
Ted's album.
Yeah. Patrick Fitzgerald, let's talk about Big Life and Man in Motion. Well, we did the Big Life. We'll do Man in Motion soon. Let's talk about unreleased songs, songs from movies, and bonus tracks. We will do a bonus track maybe episode. So, Patrick, you'll have to hold on for that. We got to save that for an episode. How does Jack Blades enjoy working with both Night Ranger and Revolution Saints? I just texted him. Jack said it's awesome. The paycheck is great. Gail Roman, who was the guy that came out of the genie lamp? I don't know, but we know probably a guy that would know the answer. We may have to send him a line. But I don't know who was actually I don't think coming out of the genie lamp. I think, remember when the song is playing and it's kind of like the
sword.
Yeah, I think that's who they're talking about. That's just
got to be one of the road guys. I'm
sure.
Sure.
It's one of those, but we will work on...
It could have been Todd. I mean, I don't know.
Well, Todd was probably, 14.
Probably the wire, microphone.
Patrick, here's a top. What song would you like Night Ranger to revisit to put on a new album? I believe Loverboy did this and modernized certain songs. I have many songs that I would love to see Night Ranger redo. So we could
Of their own catalog?
Well, they've done that. Remember, they redid.
Yeah, they did their greatest hits.
No, is that what he's asking?
Yeah, they did the greatest hits, but they did on
Let 'Em Run,
Neverland. Yep, Let 'Em Run.
We're talking bonus tracks, so when we talk about that, though, as well.
Well, I'm just saying they've done Neverland. They did Don't Tell Me You Love Me, and You Still Rockin' America. So, is there any track you wish they would redo?
If I were going to have them redo a track that I would probably have them redo.
That's tough because I would like them to remaster the first couple albums so they sound better.
Well,
I just say off the
as
top.
far as redoing, I mean, there's deep cuts that I would like to see them revisit, but I don't want them to change it necessarily. I mean, like, I love the song Chipping Away. You know, do I want them to redo it or revisit it? I don't know. I don't know if they can make it any better. That's the tricky part for me is the kind of fan that I am, I don't have any critiques of their songs that I don't like.
I would say I would like to see them do a straight up heavier version of Interstate Love Affair.
I'll agree with that. That's a great tune. Sounds tinny.
Take out the 80s production, you know, and heavier guitars, make it a more rock, you know, something that would have been on Dawn Patrol and not Seven Wishes. That would be one song I think there's a lot of room and improvement. And I think if you did I Will Follow You, but maybe put it on Big Life and do that bigger, like take out something. There's something about I Will Follow You that just has a little bit too much going on with it.
If we got a really good mix of it, though, too, it might sound bigger already.
Well, it sounds...
It just sounds so compressed.
I Will Follow You, if you got really good speakers, sounds a lot better than just putting it in your car because you got jack blades, that bass line. That's about the only song.
And all the...
You know, I mean, guess using what Josh was saying as far as maybe, I would say maybe the song Big Life.
I was going there too.
Take some of the keys down a little bit and bring the guitars up a little and make it more rockin', so to speak. And again, that's not I love the song, but I wouldn't mind hearing that more just rocked out.
I would pick Goodbye, period. I would just do it acoustically like they did Let 'Em Run.
No, that ending is too awesome. When it kicks back into the guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it. I would like it. I think I'd like it better.
I don't know.
Well, and I don't know. I might like to hear a version of Goodbye as far as a recorded version of Jack singing it versus Kelly. Not a knock on Kelly.
I'd like to hear Mad Emotion
instead
of Man Emotion. I'd like to hear the original version of that. I'd like to hear, but I still think Tell Your Vision sounds like television.
I will agree with that.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Keep
talking.
talking.
What else is out there?
But yeah, they're pretty good as far as I'm concerned of what they've done. You know.
Yeah, I can't. I'm drawing such a blank. I needed more time to think about that one on the fly.
Yeah, I didn't. I would have made a list and would have checked it and to see if anything stood out. Because even some of my least favorite songs, I wouldn't change the way they are. Now sometimes they sound better.
Revisit Penny and make it.
But you know what? It does sound better live.
Make it a better song.
Okay, here's the last set of questions. Not sure if this theory holds enough water. This is from Tom Chapin. Not sure if this theory holds enough water to allow for a whole or part of a broadcast. I probably should have read this before I started talking. Oh. Does anyone else notice a sonic difference between the first 3 albums versus everything? Yeah, so we've kind of already talked about that. And he's asking, is it because of producers, which we've talked about Kevin Olsen, and we'll eventually talk about Keith Olsen. So we'll get into all that. Dave Glazer asked, what debate on why they weren't bigger during their heyday. Was it an image issue? I've heard him say they were a 2 to 3 A-list hits short. Were they in a gray area, not metal enough? So we've kind of gone over that with Lisa's question.
We went over that during the Midnight Madness episode as well. When I told you, "Don't Tell Me You Love Me" came out, it just Rockin' America came out. It was that album wasn't doing anything till Sister Christian hit.
I will say a thing that really hurt Big Life was Image as well, because like I said, Image is a big thing in the rock world, and the only person that looked like a rock star on that album cover was Jeff. And especially in the video where you got a keytar and stuff like that. If you look, I always liked the photos from Man in Motion. They at least looked like they were on the same page.
Yeah.
They went to the same store at least. And I thought they looked more like a rock band than the Big Life era. I'm not going to really say much about Seven Wishes. It's a product of their times, the Bumblebee outfit and stuff. I mean, but the Man in Motion era photos, image-wise, I thought they did. Maybe they hired a publicist or something to help them. But we answered most of those with Lisa's. Darren Smith. This is more of a comment, but maybe there's something for discussion. I have noticed that through this whole pandemic stuff, Jack Blades, who's usually one of or the frontman of the band, has been extremely quiet. Eric has been active. We've seen stuff from Brad and a little bit from Carrie. You saw an interview with Kelly. But
there was an interview with Jack.
Yeah. Last 6 months, one small interview with Jack. So it looks like other people are doing this stuff, like, all over social media. Trying to get to them. Basically, not the guys who don't deserve a break, but it seems like a prime opportunity to write and still collaborate, even if not together in the same room. But I have mainly noticed how quiet some members of Night Ranger camp have been. We've talked about that. At one time, there was definitely nothing on the Night Ranger front. Eric and Carrie Kelly have tossed some music back and forth, but we still haven't heard anything about them writing or doing anything. I mean, we know Brad has been working on his solo album, but that's even kind of died down too. I'm sure it's still being worked on. But
and then they just confirmed they solidified that deal with Frontiers again.
Yeah. So something's happening. But you would think there'd be a lot more. I mean, the Night Ranger page has been dead. Even Brad's page has gone silent. Remember, he was
he was posting tons of pictures
Well, I don't think it was him. He'd hired a publicist.
No, I
know. But yeah. So.
I think he needs us to get him on the show to get him active again.
Yeah.
Brad, are you watching this?
Hi, Brad.
Listen.
Jackson again is asking about Fitz.
He doesn't like you.
Damn it.
How about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame credentials of Jack Blades?
Never gonna happen.
John Reed.
That's because it's a political faction of Rolling Stone. Period.
Well, I don't.
I can't get into the Hall of Fame. My blood pressure gets up really quick.
Let me ask you this.
I've been to 2 ceremonies.
Let me ask you this. How much bigger is Cheap Trick over Night Ranger? And
I don't even know why Cheap Trick is on everybody's list when you listen to podcasts. Cheap Trick was not that great. They got one greatest hits album in them, and that's it, and not even a full greatest hits album.
But that's what I'm saying is, and I guess
right, I went there.
The question I would have is, and I don't know, I'm asking, is were they groundbreaking? Because that's where you don't have to have hits, but if you were groundbreaking, that's also criteria to get you in. And
Madonna wasn't groundbreaking. She just dressed slutty.
Well, Madonna had a hell of a lot of hits too, but
she wasn't groundbreaking.
I didn't say she was. I was saying that could be a reason why this blues player from 1938 is in there, because he's the first one to record a guitar this way or something. But I'm comparing Cheap Trick to Night Rangers. I think it's the only way you could make an argument, could Night Ranger get in?
Is Cheap Trick in?
Yeah, Cheap Trick's
Are
in.
they? I didn't think they were in yet.
No, they're in. So that's, to me, no, Night Ranger doesn't have it to
They'll never make it.
to get in.
I have some Cheap Trick. I do have some.
Well, I like Cheap Trick, but
I don't think they're that. God, you listen to all these people talk on these shows, and they're like, "Oh, Cheap Trick."
well, to me, how does
I don't get it.
Cheap Trick get in before Styx? How does Cheap Trick get in? I can't remember if they
Deep
got
Purple.
Well,
Deep Purple never made it.
No, Deep Purple's in now.
I
just can't remember if Deep Purple came in after, but Styx, Sabbath's in there now.
Okay.
I mean, yes, 10 years ago, this argument is really silly because Sabbath, but bands that aren't in there.
Rush didn't make it yet, did they?
Yeah,
I think Rush is in there.
Did
But
they go in
bands
finally?
that are not, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest.
Yeah, okay.
There's still these other bands that are not in there. I don't know Foreigners. Foreigners not in there.
Loverboy should be in there.
Well, I would say Night Ranger would get in there before Loverboy.
Night Ranger, no, they should all be in there.
Now, I will say that Night Ranger was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because I went to the gift shop there once, and the CD had they had the Night Ranger in the CD. But the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame sucks. It sucked in the 90s when I went, and I broke down, and I went again, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and it sucked then. It's just bullshit that's in there. There's nothing cool. Go to a Hard Rock cafe.
Yeah.
You'll see cooler.
I've never been. I always said I would never go till they put Kiss in there, and then when Kiss, Peter Criss is the only one that gave him anything, because, well, you know the story as to why.
Well,
Before they would like Kiss and they wanted to use their costumes and everything and put them in, and Gene's like, well, yeah, sure, you can rent them.
well,
And they got pissed off.
Here's the shit I don't like either is they put Deep Purple in, and they put David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes in with them, which I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with. Okay,
I didn't know they went in. That's how I just don't care anymore.
Are still 3 big albums they did with David Coverdale. But when they inducted Black Sabbath, they didn't put Ronnie James Dio in there. I mean, they had 2 big albums with Dio, and even the '92 album was great.
They were huge.
So it's like that.
They were huge.
That threw me off. But
but they did the same thing to Kiss, but yet they'll put every member of the E Street band in there, even someone who
I can get the E Street band. I can't get
took a paperclip.
But here's the thing. But give them credit. Grateful Dead wanted every member inducted. It doesn't matter if they were there for 2 years or 10 years or forever. And you okay there, Andrew? Wake up.
I told you I can't get into. I get going on this and I can't do it. So I just listen.
But it
pisses me off.
They demanded that every member that was in that group be included. And to me, if you're Kiss and you want Bruce Kulick and Eric Carr in there, then you do what Grateful Dead did, demand it.
And Eric Singer and Tommy Thayer.
Well, Tommy Thayer is a spaceman, so why wouldn't he be in?
Should be in.
He is the spaceman. There was another guy that played the spaceman at one time, I heard. Dwayne,
No, Ace. He's in there.
That's the guy that used to be the spaceman.
No, he was Space Ace. He was Space Ace.
Yeah.
It's difference.
And I'll tell you what, when you get to that stuff, I went to a show last year in Lexington, and the couple next to me.
That was this year.
No,
February 13th.
not Lexington, Louisville. I apologize.
Yeah, that was this year.
No, Lexington was this year. Louisville was last year. I went and
You're right. Yum Center was Louisville. Okay.
And the couple next to me, when they showed a picture of Kiss and makeup, she's like, "Oh, that's how I remember seeing them." And she's like talking like they're to her husband that they're not like they think that they're coming out not in makeup still. And it's just amazing. We always think everybody knows it's not Ace and stuff, but the majority of people there, they don't give a shit if it's Ace or not. And they did it. They bought tickets thinking Kiss wasn't even makeup still. But anyways,
even though every piece of merchandise had makeup all over it.
Well, who knows if they even gave a shit to look at.
You can't miss it when you walk the door.
I like to hear your guys' thoughts on the night. This is Dwayne Vickers again. Hall of Fame potential. We've already done that. I always felt Night Ranger was disrespected as a rock band because of their ballad success. One of my main arguments of them would be Joan Jett. I think Joan Jett and Pat Benatar. I don't know if Pat Benatar's in, but
I don't believe she is, and Joan Jett is, which is another crime against humanity.
If Joan Jett's in, I think Pat Benatar should be in.
She should have went in way before any of the other females.
I think the Runaways and Joan Jett should be in. I don't know if the Runaways are, but I mean, to me, being a woman rock band in 1976, just like the Go-Go's, I have no problem with the Go-Go's being in because they're
groundbreaking, like you said.
Correct.
Zero problem.
Night Ranger
with
has
that.
more hits, but
I have a bigger problem with the E Street Band going in separately than Joan Jett going in, because sing me all of the hit songs by the E Street Band without Bruce Springsteen. They should have gone in with Bruce. That's simple as that. Yeah.
Oh, if you get to the list, I mean, there's so much on there that, like I said,
I was at the ceremony where the E Street Band went in. I looked at my buddy Bobby and I was like, "Why are they going in?"
That was the same night as Kiss, right?
Yeah, Bruce wanted to go in on his own because he's Bruce Springsteen. And what a lot of people don't know is Bruce's manager is one of the founders of the Hall of Fame,
Danny.
So suddenly you see the politics of it, which is a bunch of absolute fucking bullshit.
It is.
I got no beef with the E Street Band, but for fuck's sake, you ignore Eric Carr, who was in Kiss longer than Peter Criss.
And played on how many albums?
Eat a bag of dicks.
I don't think Eric Carr and Bruce Kulick should be in, but
you're wrong.
You can make an argument. I mean,
the same argument that the Grateful Dead made. They all were members of this band at certain time. Vinnie Vincent, as much as he's a dickhole, he should be mentioned in that conversation.
He likes to sue. I don't know anything of me speaking no English.
But Bruce Springsteen's fucking gardener probably went in.
He's got a hell of a gardener, but
yeah, Eric Carr should have been in there.
Take Bruce Springsteen away from E Street Band. What do you have? You have just a bunch of hired players.
Oh, you're crazy, man. Clarence Clemens, get the fuck out of here. All right, hey,
what's his hit song?
Hey, fucking.
What's his groundbreaking song?
You got a friend in me with Jackson Brown.
Hey, Incredible Hulk. No. We're going to move on. Dave Nadelman. I'd like to know the circumstances were to get them back together after Mojo to record Neverland in 7. I always wondered who called who and what did it take to bring Fitz out of retirement. Well, Fitz wasn't retired. We've already discussed that, Alliance and Van Halen. We will discuss that later on, but I can tell you that it was probably money.
Yeah, I heard it was Japan that got them back together.
Yeah, but
I'll take it. Whatever got them back together, man. I love Neverland.
Listen, you're not going to do a 2-week tour, change everything to do a 2-week tour of Japan and an album. There has to be something else beyond that. And Emily asked, "Can we interview Jack Blades?" No, we like to speculate instead of actually getting the source of all this stuff. What we're going to talk about if Jack comes in and goes, "Okay, this is what happened, and we're done." Kathy Kirkman Lane, this is the last one, folks. I think it would be interesting to talk about a lot of the side things, which we've already done that. Eric with Under the Street Lamp, Kelly and Jack with Scrap Metal, Brad writing for ESPN Sports Center. I like this question. Carrie Kelly owning Aces and Ales in Vegas. We can touch on that. We've talked about all that except, we talked a little bit about Carrie Kelly owning Aces and Ales in Vegas, which is a restaurant. I think there's 2 or 3 locations in Vegas, maybe one a little bit outside. So there you go. We did the Fans in Motion questionnaire. Andy is still with us, looking like shit. Your eyes are red. Your hair is disheveled.
By the way, when we were in our earlier discussion and Pablo Cruz came up, okay, you all ain't gonna get a hint, but
Bruce Day,
when Pablo Cruz came up in the interview we were talking about, and so I went to look up who the bass player was, and this is the first thing I see.
That is dead sexy right there.
What's that album that you and Bobby used to post pictures of, Andy?
Orleans.
Yeah,
Was it with all
Orleans.
the shirts off.
Hey, I know my shirtless album covers.
And Josh, you failed the test. You were way too quick with that answer.
Well, what other album cover out there?
Here, okay, I'm gonna pull that up real quick so you can see it.
Just FYI, the guitar player in my band, whenever we would do gigs, he would do our flyers for us, and he would do these really bad photoshops, and he put all of our faces, and Orleans was one of them. If I find it, I'll send it to you so you could enjoy that.
Here comes the album cover. Okay, there you go. Imagine that being Night Ranger, and you go to the store to buy that record. That's just god awful horrible.
And
weren't they still the one?
Yeah.
Hey, what's the Night Ranger connection?
Orleans.
Did Fitz play with him?
That's a good guess, but no. I mean, maybe he might have.
He could have.
Greg Eckler?
Nope. Dance with me. Dun, 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 dun,
Oh, yeah,
dun,
Shaw
I
dun.
remember that song. What about it?
All blades.
Yeah, Shaw Blades influence.
Oh, that ain't like getting to Kevin Bacon. Come on.
That's a 6
That
degrees
is
of
that
separation.
is literally 2 degrees.
Yeah.
Jack Blades of Night Ranger recorded.
I actually
Orleans.
got Jeff Watson to Kevin Bacon. Did that like in 3 steps on one of the fan chats one night. Jeff Watson was Enchanted with what was Dr. McDreamy's name?
I don't know. I don't
Or
watch
no,
those
or
shows.
whatever. Anyway, well, one of those two were in a movie with such and such that was in a movie with Kevin Bacon. I can't remember who it was, but I did it, and I was like, damn, I did it. So I linked to Night Ranger to Kevin Bacon. Thank you very much.
You the man.
And Beth and Lisa will back me up on that. So you all make a post after this episode comes out just to confirm that I was right.
Yeah, of course, I can't find this picture I'm trying to find.
Are you trying to find the Bobby thing?
Yeah.
It's god awful. It looks. I remember seeing that, and I'm thinking, because I would sub for Andy when he couldn't play, and thank God Bobby never really made posters with me in them. He did make me as a Lego man one time in a thing, but good God! Oh, I forgot to do Andy's Star Wars card tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll be okay. Hey, we done?
What's up with the Tampa Bay helmet? Are you doing that for Tom Brady?
Tom Brady is the GOAT.
He is a goat. I
Yeah,
agree.
Unfortunately.
I like the old, NFL helmets, so it's one of the ones.
I'm just curious if it was for Tom Brady. It had to be. So.
No, it's just I liked when I was a kid. I always thought that was one of the cooler helmets, even though they sucked. And I have it, and like the old green Jets, which I think they use now again. The Houston Oilers and the old Denver Broncos with the D.
Which Houston Oilers? The blue helmet or the white helmet?
The white one.
Did you stop recording?
Nope.
No.
Oh.
We're going,
still
man. We're waiting on you. I don't know.
I don't have. Man, I can't find it.
Sign us off there, Turbo.
Andy, you will get that picture. You can email it over to Josh, and he can see while you're searching for it. He can put it in there, and then we can just sign this
My
sucker
goal
off.
is to do no editing on this episode.
So, as of right now, it's 12:30. We start 12:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We started tonight at 6 o'clock. We had a half-hour break so Andy could eat.
Yeah. I had a bowl of Raisin Bran. That's how sad my life is right now.
I had 3 Skyline cheese conies.
Ah, you suck.
All right. Well, based on that, hey, join us next week where we ramble on for 18 hours about.
No, we don't ramble. We have someone that's going to entertain you, and you're going to love it.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm Andy. That's Josh. That's Brent.
Later.